How's it going? I'm Chris and I'm the founder of Areii. And if you're watching this, you've either joined Areii or you're considering getting a subscription to Areii. So either way, I want to thank you and I want to give you a quick little walkthrough of the platform. We are an early stage software company, and as such, there's a lot of bugs, there's a lot of stuff that we can do, and then with the overall goal of Areii being that of a start to finish real estate investment platform, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of little pieces. And so as we're getting this out to customers as quickly as possible, we want to make certain that we're giving walkthroughs and detailed operational procedures and manuscripts, all that stuff, so that you get the most out of your subscription to Areii and you have all your questions answered as best as we can. Obviously, things will come up, but yes, this is a great way that we're going to kind of get into all that. So let's go ahead and get going. Obviously, the website is www.areii.io, and that is pronounced R-E, like the two kind of middle letters, R-E. So this is a real estate investment platform, and it is a SaaS style thing, a SaaS style platform. It is a non-native app right now. It is a PWA. So one of the big important things to note is that after you've logged in and you've created your account, you can go up to the little button on the top and you can click more, and it will say add to home screen, especially if you're in Google Chrome. When you hit that add to home screen, it's going to put it right there on your mobile phone, and it'll work just like any other native app. Then it will be running through the Chrome browser, but like on my phone when I test it out, it doesn't actually look like you're in Chrome. There's no search bar, there's no tabs, there's no way to like switch between active tabs or anything like that within Chrome. It's just running through the browser on the back end, which is really nice. So let's kind of get into this. First, we're gonna, obviously log in or sign up, whatever we need to do. I think most people have, created an account of some type. So I'm gonna go ahead and log into my test account. All right. So I'll log in here. And then we can see that we're taken to our dashboard. And this little debugger bar is on my setup. You won't see this when you're on your screen, but this is the dashboard. Here we can just kind of get a quick little glance of what's going on. We can see the different properties we have up here at the top. We can go through all of them, as well as see any tasks that we might have created for these properties, and we can complete them or edit them if we need to right from the dashboard, as well as if you are in the scaling or the pro account or subscription, you'll be able to see this stuff here down at the bottom, which is the receipts organizer. So if you have any uncategorized receipts, you'll be able to view all your receipts from here. First, let's take a look at this floating action button down here in the bottom right screen. This is going to be the same on mobile or on desktop. Basically, when we click it, we're going to get some options here. The top one is the ability to add a new property. If we have not met that property cap on our subscription, we'll be able to click that and add to property, add a new property. Below it, we have the add document, so we can quickly add in, an offer or really anything that we might need to add on. We can add that document to a property or to our general account. And then we can also add a receipt. So one of the big things is just make the bookkeeping and the process of all this stuff as easy as possible. So right from the get-go, you have the ability to add in a receipt, and we'll take a look at that in just a second. And then we also have the report a bug or feedback. So this is going to be an important one, especially the earlier we are and the earlier of a customer you are. If you find bugs or you got feedback for us, let us know. We want to make this as good, clean as possible. We want to make it incredibly easy for anyone to understand, regardless of where they're at in their real estate investing journey, and just make it as easy as possible for them to get going and started and understand what it is that they should be doing next. So if you got anything like that, any bugs or feedback you want to give us, feel free. Very simple little pop-up. Just type in the title and then any details that you can. And if you have any screenshots that you can share with us, you can go ahead and you can add that by clicking into that little box there. So we'll get out of that. And then, of course, if you have any need to revisit this video, you can find this video and any new ones that we add by clicking this tutorial walkthrough tutorial here. All right, and then we can hide that. So from here, let's go ahead and move on over to our properties tabs. And basically this is going to be very similar to the dashboard, but it's just going to show all the different properties, so we can move through this very quickly. And then we have the tasks here. So any tasks that we might have, we can add in some new ones, or we can complete them or see our completed tasks. We have our account. This is going to be an important one, namely here, this account and card. So this is not for your subscription. This is actually the subscription tab up here, but the accounts and card tab within your account settings, this is where you're going to set up any of the bank accounts or cards that you might use when purchasing stuff or paying for things. That way, if you are a bookkeeping client, when you're looking at the bottom of a receipt, you'll be able to see this was paid out of this card. You can match the last four on that receipt to these here. So this is very basic information. None of this is accessible by the public, and even if it was, it's so little information you don't have to worry about it. You're basically given the account a nickname. You can select which bank or type in what bank it was from, just as a note to yourself. You can put the last four of the account or the card on there, and then you can select whether it was a personal or a business account. That way, when it comes time to get that report at the end of the year to give your accountant, we know what your actual cost basis was as far as personal and business, so you get accurate depreciation, all that good stuff for accounting and taxes. Notifications, turn them all on. Why not? Then we have the subscription, so you'll be able to see your payment history as well as manage any subscription that you are on. You can go ahead and change your email and password from the login and security, and then your profile. And as we go, this will get bigger and bigger, and more stuff will be, in there. My navigation menu is gone. Okay, there it is. That was strange. Need to report that as a bug. All right, so after the accounts, we have the templates. Now this is up and not being utilized right now, so you're more than welcome to look around here and you can kind of get a glimpse as to some of the future features that we're going to be adding on, starting out with statuses and then moving into the email templates, rooms, and other stuff as well. So some fun stuff planned in the future. And then signed out. Now let's go back to the dashboard and we'll take a look at some of those floating menu items. So when we click on the little floating menu here, we can hit add property. Very simple way to add a property. So you're out driving for dollars, you're on a hike, whatever, someone tells you about something, maybe you're going to go ahead and you can put in a little title. This is the cute little Airbnb by the Riverwalk that I looked at. And then you can put in the street address. Put in the city, maybe this is in Tampa, Florida. I don't know their zip code, so let's just go with 34421. And any images, we can save it, and then we'll be able to see that pop up as soon as it's kind of registered on the back end. Documents. Now, if we have, maybe we've just signed something, we just need to quickly snap a picture of it and put it into our document folder so we don't forget about anything. Maybe this was the we'd already closed on a property and they needed to reprint out that document that basically does the breakdown because they forgot, $50 of a fee or whatever. So they reprinted that out and we got it a couple days after we've closed on the property, and we need to take a picture of it and add it to the property. So we can click on it, we can upload that file or upload it from our phone. And then the document title will just say the redone closing statement. And then the document type is going to be a closing statement on the sell side. these are all the different ones that we have. It could be W-9. Maybe this was a contractor we met and we signed that W-9 with the contractor so that we can report his income at the end of the year. Make certain we have that in the front end and not trying to collect that at the end. But yeah, we'll say the sell side closing statement, and then the property. We can select a property that this might be intended for. So we'll say this was this one here, this second test property. So we'll upload that. It'll clear it out, and we can keep adding if we want, or we can be done. And that way, when we go and we take a look at the property, we'll be able to see all of our documents. Receipt is going to look very similar, and later on you're going to see these menus in other areas. These all kind of work the same way, so across the app. It's just if you go into a property and access this menu, it will actually pull the current property as the property that it is assigned to and automatically put that in there. So you don't have to worry about doing that one little step in this if you're going into the property to upload the receipt or the document. So again, if you get a receipt, snap a picture of it. Maybe I'm at Lowe's and I just bought some lumber for this flip. The receipt title is going to be, maybe 2x4s for, walls, whatever. We spent $214 there, and I used this account here, the property here. Since I'm not in the property, I have to select this. If this wasn't an expense that's necessarily associated to a property, I'd want to leave this blank. That way it's showing that this is an expense to the overall business entity and not just to that one property. So when we're looking at the individual cost basis of that property, whether it's a flip or a rental property, we know that it's all reported accurately. So, but this one here, we know it was 2x4s for this little flip. So this is the cute little flip here. And this is a receipt for renovations. So if this is specifically for a capital expense, a capital renovation expense, something that needs to be capitalized and not just expensed on your taxes, that's the main difference here. You're going to want to click this, and this is all typically going to be the renovation expenses. So this receipt is for renovations, and then it's going to change basically what is selectable in this little drop down. So if I don't have it in here, maybe this is for advertising or insurance or something like that. If it is, I'm going to be able to say this was for windows or siding or whatever, and we're going to say that this was for framing lumber. We're going to get a little drop down. Maybe I bought a little extra thing here. Maybe I bought, there was a little piece of subflooring that was missing, so I had to buy, one sheet of subflooring. And so when we go into here, now if you're doing the accounting yourself, this would be helpful to do immediately as you take that. If not, you can set this aside. You have the picture of the receipt or whatever, that you can reference to later. But it's always good to do this as soon as possible. Basically, we're going to put in what percentage of that overall receipt was for this framing lumber. Maybe in this case, this was 80% framing lumber and only 20% of the subfloor, and it's going to basically break up the total amount into the appropriate things. Maybe I don't even use 100% because I also bought a Mountain Dew and a Snickers. So maybe this was only 15%. It's going to leave some uncategorized. That way we know exactly what was spent, where, and how much. Again, this is just to keep us in the clear when we go to report these properties, we report this income, all this stuff. We have that paper trail that is so crucial when doing real estate investing. And then we can upload this receipt and it'll clear out, and we can either cancel or add in the next receipt. And then of course we have our bugs. We already took a look at that and the walkthrough. From here, let's go ahead and take a look at the property. So this is my main test property, the one that I always do everything on. So let's go ahead and take a look at this property here. When we're in here, let's go and take a look at the right side of the property first. And this is going to be, if you're on the phone, it'll be just like a vertical scroll bar. So this will be a little bit down underneath the picture and the property actions. You'll be able to select on these tabs here. So the details is going to tell us some basic details about the home, which you will put in. I'll show you how to do that in just a second, as well as any active analysis that we've done on the property. And right now, as of this recording, we still only have the analysis option for fix and flips. But if this was a rental property, this would look a little different. If it was a BRRRR or whatever it was, this would all kind of look differently. But underneath the analysis, we can see some quick little key metrics here. Do we beat the 70% rule? What were we actually at? What's our projected profit? The after repair value, the purchase price, all that good stuff. And then we're going to have the analysis broken up over 2-3 little things here. So what are the costs? What's my purchase cost? What's my rehab costs? The monthly mortgage holding costs, the total holding costs. These are all totals except for this monthly mortgage. This is the actual monthly mortgage payment that we will be paying each month on this property. What's the holding costs and the selling costs? What's the total cost for this project that we're going to have to end up spending? And then we can go over to financing. We'll be able to see, we're purchasing this thing for $100,000. The loan principal after the down payment is going to be 73. We're going to do a 60-month loan term, 10% with a 1 loan point. Just going to bring up our monthly payment again. And then the returns. What are these projected returns? So we can see the after repair value. And then we're going to subtract all these costs. We can see the calculated profit and the cost, cash on cash return. So that is the analysis. There's one more box right here, which I will go over in just a moment. And then we can go over to our actuals. So as you're reporting the receipts, you've purchased this property, you've started expensing things that are associated with this property. We're going to be able to see what those are right here. So we have 3 little tabs here. This first one is the renovation costs, which is what is going to default pull up if this is a flip property. We'll be able to see any renovation. We'll be able to see what the total amounts were for each of the things that we've said we've spent money on. And then we have the chart of accounts. So if we've spent money on this that is not a capitalized expense in the renovation field, we'll be able to see what were those expenses that we've done. And then we can see any income. So if this was a rental property or this flip was completed and we'd already sold it, maybe this was a wholesale or something like that, we could see that we had a little bit of income and we'll be able to actually get a gauge on that and what was the income from. This will make a lot more sense as a rental property, more so than a flip, because on the back end of a flip is where you make all your income, really. So this would be kind of a blank tab until the very end if this is a flip property. And then underneath documents, we would see all the documents that we've uploaded at the end. So we can go ahead and we could take a look at any of these things that we may have, uploaded. The image, if there is one, if there's something uploaded, would show up here. We can see the file. We can edit that file if we want. We can see what we called it. We can select what was this document, and then we can even change the property if we found out that this was actually for some other property that we had. And if we need to, we can delete it, which once you've added in a document, it's pretty unwise to delete it. I would refrain from doing that unless you actually know that that document should not be in that property. But over documentation is way better than under. So if you're even wondering if you should be uploading the document, I would upload the document just to be on the safe side. And then we can switch over to the receipts and we can see basically the same thing. What was the receipt name? What was the total amount? And then we can view it if we want, which is going to take us to that receipt organizer, which was on that dashboard. So we go back over the dashboard and we click the view receipts. This is going to take us to the same spot as when we were in the properties page, and we clicked view on that receipt. Go back to that. So view. You'll see all of our receipts here, nice and organized, with all the different categories that we had associated with that receipt. And this is a lot of test data, so don't worry about the stuff. All right. This will also pull up all the receipts across all your properties. So that is one thing. So when you're going through here, you want to make certain to look at the property. So you'll see cute little flip. We have no property here, so this was just something that Maybe this was me filling up gas when I was driving for dollars. Yeah, stuff like that. And we'll also be able to see our income items as well. So anytime we had made money from any of these properties, we'll be able to see that in here. All right, and then I believe we have just the one last thing to go over, which is when you are in this analysis phase here. If you've done your analysis and you're ready to move forward with this project and you want to get a loan, we do have a list of vetted lenders that we are working on. We have more than just lenders, actually. We have a bunch of stuff. Right now, we're just offering our lenders on this right now. So if you need help getting financing, you can take a look at all the different loans that would work for that type of property, that type of strategy. You'll be able to click on them and learn more about that specific thing. So quickly on here, you'll be able to see what is their advertised rate. So what is the rate that you could potentially get? It's as low as. What credit requirements do they have? So these are be like, do they collect your credit score, or do you need to have low credit? Do you need to have high credit for this? Is there a minimum credit? What is the term range? So how long is this typically paid back over? What does that kind of look like? And then the documentation requirements. So what type of documentation do I need on the actual property or the job to be able to get this loan qualified? So there are some no doc loan programs, low doc, and obviously the full documentation. A full doc would be like a traditional homeowner buying a home. You need the inspection, you need the appraisal, you need the yada yada yada, you need all your proof of income. And then you can click on learn more and you'll get a little bit more information. So what's their min to max loan amount? Can I use this as a purchase? Can I refinance with this loan? What do we got? What's the max loan to value going to be at? So this is going to tell you, what is my down payment need to be to qualify for this? What is that against? So is this 85% of the purchase price? Or in this case here, it's the projected ARV. So if this is a flip, what is my ARV? I can lend up to, or I could borrow up to 85%. Again, this is all test data, and all this stuff is, going to be definitely dependent on the provider of that loan. And you'll see basically the next step after this is when we click submit deal to lender. I'm going to use my test data so I can pull it up. Basically what's going to happen is the system is going to send that lender an email, and they will get something that looks like this here. So they'll get an email that looks like this here, and what they will do then is they'll be able to click on this link, which will take them to a separate page for that property with some basic information on that property. They'll be able to see all the pictures that you've added to that property. They'll see all the property information. They'll be able to see the analysis of that property, whatever strategy it is that you're doing on there. What was the financing that you're projecting supposed to look like? And this is something that you're probably going to play around with. You'll edit that analysis all the time, trying to make certain it's good. And then what documents have you already collected on that property? So they won't be able to see your receipts. They're not going to be able to edit anything like that, or see your tasks that you got to do. They'll just be able to see some basic information so that they can get a quick read on, is this deal a potential deal that I'm going to be able to help them get close, or is this potential borrower way off base and they need to rethink this whole thing? And then you'll communicate back and forth through email. Right now, in a future version, all that communication will happen on platform with tasks lists and things that the lender needs, but right now it's all going to be done off email. And yeah, that is the base platform. I think I need to also show you this here, so let's go back out of here. Property actions. So I forgot about this one here. So underneath the property, we have a lot of actions that we can do for this property, because this is a pipeline portfolio tracker with a lot of stuff. We got to be able to make certain we're reporting things correctly and doing everything correctly. So we have these property actions. So we can upload receipts. We can report income, which works just like the receipt uploader. So you'll notice before we had these upload receipt, and the ability to select which property is not even on here. That's because it is going to default to this property. And then the upload, the report income is going to work very similar. So what's the title? What's the loan amount or the total amount? What account did it go into? Did I claim this on my personal or my business account? And then when did I receive it on the income source? So was this the final sale? Was this rent? Was it royalty, non-refundable, refundable deposits? What was it? Add more photos, any photos we want. They're all going to show up underneath this details panel here. Add documents, same like before. Add those documents if you think you might need to, just add it. And then we can edit the property info. So this is that stuff that's going to show up right here on this front. So we can, obviously edit the name if we want. I said test property, maybe I want to change the name or whatever, or I missed, something on here. This is actually Street Avenue. And then I got this wrong. This is 34471, not 82. We got the bedrooms, we got the bathrooms, a square foot, it's a single family home. We could save all these changes. That way we have everything here. We know what this is. And then maybe we can start a new analysis. So you always are going to be able to change what type of analysis you want to do on that property. Basically, whenever you save that analysis and you create a new one, it's going to make that one the active analysis. So if it will clear out that old analysis and start the new one. Right now, since it's all just locked into flips, a better option to do would be to edit the active analysis. So it's going to pull up the exact same thing, and it's just going to populate that entire thing there. And so we can go back through and we can take a look at what we're adding in here. So on this here, this is a multi-step form. We got a little progress bar that's going to be able to track your progress through the form as you're going through and doing your analysis. So when you start a new one and this is a brand new blank property, this will all be blank, and then you'll go through and you can just add all this information. So what is your purchase price, the inspection costs, all these different things here that you're going to want to know and have accounted for. Get that total purchase cost. Next, we'll move on to the rehab costs. We are locked in at a level, what I call a level 1 rehab analysis right now. One of the next things that we're going to be adding in is a level 2 rehab analysis tool, which will give you a little more options and customizability of how you're actually coming up with that total rehab number. But right now, this would just be like walking through and be like, maybe this whole thing needs $50,000 worth of work. It's going to pull that whole thing in and then move on to the next step. This is where we can start crafting that financing strategy. Who are we using? What type of loan are we working with? And maybe this was after I got done and I took a look at what the lenders were offering for this type of loan. I found out that, the minimum was actually like a 12% interest. So I'm going to be able to update that. And then maybe I need to account for, 2 points. I'm going to get all my renovation closing funds from a HELOC or a capital partner. And then it's going to automatically bring up, what is that loan principal? Oh, I missed 2 things on here. So interest only or principal and interest. So most of the time, if this is a fix and flip, you're probably going to be doing interest only payments. But if this was a rental property or some specialty case, you can do principal and interest only payments, in which case it's going to change that monthly mortgage payment amount. And then also on the down payment, maybe I don't need to do a 20% down. Maybe I can get away with, for whatever reason, I only need to do a $5,000 down payment. So I could put that in there as well. We're going to just override that there. I think this was supposed to be 20,000. I think that works. Yep. And then we'll hit next step. If there is a problem with, I have noticed, I'm working on a solution right now, but if this doesn't update, sometimes you have to Let's do this here. Sometimes when you click next step and then go back, it will update this. So yeah, sometimes just kind of click forward and go back. It's kind of like refreshing it, and it'll update those actual amounts. Over there. Don't know why that didn't. May have found a bug right here live on screen. Okay. All right, we'll move on to the holding costs. So we have the property tax, insurance, utilities, lawn care. You got some other stuff. Thing to note on this page here is we give you the option of putting these numbers in as a monthly or a yearly value. So things like property tax, most of the time, people see this as a yearly, one single yearly cost. Insurance might be yearly, but utilities is usually a monthly cost. And so maybe this is, $60 a month, or that's a little low, maybe do $200 a month. And the lawn care is going to be monthly as well. Maybe it's only $150 a month for lawn care. Other holding costs, maybe we have like a flat $1,000 a year for something. And then we're going to estimate how long do we actually intend on holding this. So this should be years and months. I should add in a little note of which one this is, but this should be left is years and right is months. So we're going to say that we're going to hold this for 0 years and 8 months. So we're going to get the total monthly holding costs of all these things plus that monthly mortgage payment from the last step. So it's going to pull that forward into the total holding costs so that we know what are we actually spending every single month to keep this property afloat, and then what is that total number by the end of project. So we'll go forward. This ARV is what we're going to sell it for. So the after repair value, what is that number? And then we can continue on. We have the selling costs. There might be commissions for realtors, home warranties, termite letters, other closing costs that the seller has to pay for. So we're going to be able to see what that total amount is. And then we can see the profit analysis. So this is where we're going to get to see all that stuff. A couple things that are going to be for the lender is these loan to values as is and as projected. This is where it's going to be checking to see like, okay, does this property fit? And we might need to play around and figure out different numbers so that all this actually works out. So we got the purchase cost, the rehab, monthly mortgage, holding, selling costs, all this different stuff to come up with the total profit. And then we can finish and close, and that's going to save all that. So when we go back to the analysis, we'll be able to actually see these things in action and what those numbers actually were. I believe that is now it. Yeah, I think so. So that is a general overview of the entire Areii platform. As we can keep moving going forward, I'll make some better walkthroughs and tutorials, and all that stuff is going to be found, right here in these tutorials and tips section. This may end up just becoming its own separate page somewhere and not just a little pop-up, or we might go the route and say, here's the tutorial for this page. You're on the dashboard, so what's the tutorial for the dashboard? What can we do on it? What are the actions involved on it? And then move from there. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoy the platform. Please let us know. Give us your feedback. I will be reaching out to customers to schedule calls with them and collect their feedback right on a Zoom call or whatever. Make certain that they understand everything. So be looking out for that. Definitely be checking your junk folders. Whichever email you signed up with, check your junk folders for any emails from us about updates or anything like that. Offers from our partners and lenders for your properties. Communications from me directly to let you know about things. or to schedule calls with you, anything like that, you're always more than welcome to reach out to me directly. You can type or send me an email, chris@areii.io. That'll come straight to me, and be more than happy to chat with you and figure out how I can make Areii the best platform possible for you and everyone else. So again, thank you. I look forward to talking with you all. Bye.